This week we are discussing from the chapter Men and Boys to the end of Mindy Kaling's book, Is Everyone Hanging Out Without Me? My voice just cracked. Puberty at 26. Now jumping right in, one thing that I've noticed is it seems that Mindy Kaling spends a significant amount of time in this book putting people in boxes and trying to tell us how they should or they shouldn't be, and I just think that it's really unnecessary in a lot of the parts. And I also don't think that I'm being a buzzkill by saying that, because I do not by any means believe that generalizations are completely off the table when it comes to being funny. A lot of humor deals with making non-harmful generalizations about people and who the audience is. But in chapters like the Men and Boys chapter, it seems like a lot of time is being spent trying to define men and boys when I really just want the story. I don't think there needs to be a long, rambling preamble that frames it with narrow views of how people should be or they shouldn't be. And I have said it before about some other stories, but I thought this story was just way too short. We get maybe a sentence in that story about why Peter Parker is bad, but we don't really have any concrete evidence to back that up with. All we really have to go on is Mindy Kaling's word. If you are going to give me a story, I just want to hear the story. I don't want to hear a lot of floaty generalizations about life. And then I also wrote down, she sort of continues this in the chest hair chapter as well. Sorry, the battery died. Let me pump myself back up for this. In the chest hair chapter, Mindy Kaling talks about the, quote, icky effort to conform to some arbitrary beauty standard. But then that made me think about, aren't all of these other lists in the book about how people should be just asking that they conform to a different set of standards? The Mindy Kaling standard of how people should be. I did appreciate the People magazine photo shoot story, but I only felt like it was just beginning to crack into something. At the part where she's talking about the graffiti in the bathroom and she laughs, she writes, I don't know why, but it made me feel better. But she doesn't really explore that thought. And I think this was a great situation, but an important moment like that sort of merits some self-reflection. And you don't have to understand why something makes you feel a certain way, but I don't think that prevents you from speculating. The phone photos were funny. I think we all have awful selfies in our phones. And I enjoyed the funeral instructions partially because I am partial to morbid things, even if that wasn't intentionally supposed to be morbid. I like to think about my own funeral. One line that I did really like in that section where she's talking about not wanting religion in her funeral, and she says, I'm not making some big atheist statement, but I want this to be solemn because people are so upset I'm dead and I don't want to share the spotlight with God. I think it's the really small parts like this that are very telling about who Mindy Kaling is, and it makes it really funny. Yay, we finished our second book. Next week is just going to be a viewer response video where I will be reading and responding to your comments about this book. We have decided to split up our personal review video of the book with the comment video because last time around it was just sort of too much to include my personal review of a video in the same video as the comments from you guys. So now you guys get your own video. Kind of scary. So this week, leave me anything else you want to say about this book now that we're done. Tell me what you liked, what you didn't like, whether or not it met your expectations, and I will be picking some of your reviews and I will be reading and responding to them next week. So that should be something. I will see you guys Wednesday.